So, who are you?
I'm Brian Alvey.
Hey! One of the co-founders of Weblogs Inc.
One of the two, yes.
Yeah. So, what have you been working on?
I own a company called CrowdFusion. So I've built a lot of content management systems in the past and had some great things with that, but we have a new thing that kind of solves everything. That's the best way to put it.
So the new version of a blog tool, or?
Blogs plus wikis plus database editing plus feed reading plus a whole lot of stuff. Big rendering system. Actually easy redesigns. So better way to describe it is it solves every problem I've ever run into doing any other site in my life. So Netscape, Engadget, all those things. Solved it all.
And who is this aimed at? Who can afford it? Big publishers like magazine companies or something, or?
Right now, big publishers. It's really built to solve. You're in the top 10 in your ComScore category of cars. I'm number 5. I want to become number 1. I'm number 2. I'm number 1. I want to put more distance between myself and the rest of the herd.
And so I'm guessing there's a lot of tools in there for teams to work together?
Absolutely. Workflow tools, group feed reader, permission system that does things like that, assignment, routing, like group. Actually, all the permissions are team based. So you're never like giving something to, Robert, my editor. You're giving something to my editorial team. Anybody can act on it. So there's this idea that things should be done in groups, even if it's a group of one person. So there's always sort of like a shared responsibility. In the feed reader, if one person reads it, then it's been looked at, that sort of thing. So like group inbox. Yeah.
Yep. So if blogs were the web 2001 or 2000, because that's sort of when I got into blogging, and the form of blogging hasn't changed a lot since then. I mean, it's gotten a little bit better here and there, but it hasn't changed a lot. What makes this the 2010 publishing tool? And what's different about what kind of site or thing will I be able to do with this that I can't do with WordPress or with movable type or something like that?
So the quick answer is sort of we looked at the user experience around a topic. So what's the ultimate dream site for a person who loves comic books, or a person who loves cars, a person who loves gossip, whatever these things are. And there's many different types of sites that will serve your needs, serve that audience's needs, which are, a blog will give you breaking news and you can comment there and there'll be feeds and you can read those and come back. A wiki or a product database site will give you stuff that is useful to consumers that a blog can't do. You go to a blog post about a camera you own or something like that. It's a blog post. It probably was written before the camera came out. It doesn't say anything about the life of that product, or maybe if it's 2 years old and it's a number 2 result in Google, then it's not so useful to you as a consumer. So as a consumer, what do I want? I want not just news from one source, but news from all sources. I want great landing pages. I want applications that work on top of the data in those landing pages, so I can sort and find me only Sprint phones, only ones with a QWERTY style, a touchscreen keyboard, and they can do this or do that or do music or do something and like narrow my way down to finding my next product or more things about the product I already own, things like that. So we're looking at those sort of topic focus, how you conquer a topic or a vertical, and a vertical can be as broad as all cars, or it could be about just Mustangs, or it can be about a specific genre of movies or all movies. And so it's like topic-based user experience, what's the right thing, and pretty much any site that's in like the top 10 movie sites, IMDb, #1 movie site, is just a database, not really good at news. Then there's blogs, Cinematical, things like that, great at news, not really good at the landing pages and the database of stuff and search and all that. So how do you solve all those things? That's kind of what we're working on.
Can I see a little preview of what it looks like?
Here's we got a showcase site called Accessible.
Cool. Let me sit next to you here.
No problem. There's plenty of room. So the showcase site called Accessible.
Yeah.
And you can think of it as a mini CNET. It's not really, there's, I think 2 people, 3 people work on it. So it's not like it's definitely not a CNET. But more so than just like a gadget blog, yep. There's product databases, things we specifically didn't build into, to Engadget or joystick and all that. We wanted to focus on just blogging, just breaking news, and never try to do like a database of every camera, database of every cell phone. And we just never built it out of the platform. So on this site, here's the homepage. It's very much like a portal style homepage where you can pin content to the top, features, things like that. There's a story about the Palm Pre.
Yeah.
There's another story about the Palm Pre. Then there's a Sling player and some iPhone specs thing. And so as you scroll down, you get the breaking news. So here's stuff from 23 minutes ago. And it's not just news, it's the whole package around news, a sort of tech meme style or Google News style, where here are all the other people talking about this. Tech Ticker blog is talking about this, Unwired View, electricpig.co.uk is talking about this, Motorola Morrison. And then there's also our own landing pages. So the landing pages for the companies mentioned in here, the people mentioned in here, the products, different types of products, product families that are mentioned in here, glossary terms like Google Android are in there. And so once you find something like that you're interested in here and you click into it, like the Palm Pre I clicked off of, this is the actual story about the Palm Pre here. And so you'll see there's a little bit of a story there. I'll link off to the New York Times. There's 12 people have written about this, Engadget, Boy Genius, some really great things in there, obviously. The Bits blog, and then there's actually the latest tweets. So yay, Palm fucking Pre comes out first print June 6th. That happens to be our latest tweet on this. So after you click off of the products, like a Palm Pre or the Apple iPhone, they basically have their own profile page. This is obsessible.com/cellphone/Palm Pre. Very pretty URL, very easy to kind of guess there, right? And so it's a nice landing page for the product. It's not just a blog post. It's got a couple paragraphs of information. It's got some specs. Obviously fewer specs on the Palm Pre than we have on like the iPhone and stuff. But it's got a lot of related things. Official press release. Again, recent tweets. Don't see any profanity there. And more stuff about them. But you can click and say, okay, well, I'm really interested in the product details. And so dive in and see like more full specs about this. It looks like they have a couple videos that are going to load. But we're on eVideo. So let's skip over to the iPhone page. So here's the iPhone 3G. I scrolled down a bit, sorry. So here's a little recap of the iPhone. There's a photo gallery. There's it tells you it's a candy bar class. It's manufacturer's Apple. You can click and go see Apple. You can click and go to the product families and the carriers and things like that. And it's got MSRP. So because it's more than a wiki and you actually have data points on these things, you can build a comparator of products. So you can't go to Wikipedia and say, give me all the cell phones that AT&T has and sort them by talk time. But you can go to a site that's built on a platform that understands how to build a database in any vertical and do that. So here's the top 10 AT&T phones. Our editors threw this little comparator together. And you can go through and look at all these things. And if I want to, I can sort by MSRP. And I click that, and then boom, here's $9.99, $7.99, $4.99, all the way down. And so the most expensive AT&T phone is the HTC Touch Pro in this comparator. I can skip over a couple and go to the side, and as I scroll down, this is just a cute little feature of this. As I scroll down, the little header stays there, so you can see you're still looking at the Motorola Z9 there in column 4. And then if you find something you like, you can kind of dive in and you can add or remove different sets of
Could a
data.
company like Dell use this to let you choose between products, or a bike manufacturer like Specialized?
Yeah, so a lot of the place where you'll see stuff like this already done pretty well is on an actual shopping thing. So on a Dell or on a Mac, not Macworld, but any one of these like mail order shops, things like that. You're going to see these kinds of drill down, pick your price range, pick your class of stuff, pick which features you need. I'm ordering RAM, like all those sites where you order RAM, Tiger Direct, right? You're going to see stuff like that. They do that well. This is more how do you put that on top of a publishing engine and news around that. So what they don't do well is you can't go to those things. Amazon does this okay, where it says here's the latest news about Corsair RAM versus so-and-so RAM versus this style of RAM. And so our model, our engine is more for, if somebody like that was using it, they have a catalog interface. We'd have all the products in our system too. We'd have them tagged with all the IDs in their shopping cart, so you can enable all of that add to my cart sort of functionality. But we'd also be saying, here's the news we've written about it, here's all the comments on it, here's what people on Twitter are saying about these things. So it's more of a publishing engine and more of looking at publishing and news. And
so you don't have e-commerce. Your form here will stop where the e-commerce engine needs to take over.
Correct. You can drop that kind of thing in. You can build a lot of stuff in our rendering system, but it's not for commerce and shopping. But it is great for consumers. So it probably should head that way. But it's more about publishing and finding, as a consumer, I will tell you the things that I own. And actually there's a little toolbar here. If you look at this thing, on one of these things on like the Apple iPhone 3G, you'll see that at the top it says like welcome right now. This is my little toolbar here. But I've already told you whether I liked it or didn't like it and whether I own it or want it. So I can actually say, I don't own the Palm Pre, but I do want it, and I can vote it up. I can say I own a Zune, but I hate it, and vote it down. But you'll know, then you can do certain things like you can show me news that's more relevant to me based on my consumer preferences. You can also say in a comment thread, if I'm jumping into a comment thread saying I hate Sony laptops, but I don't own one, so you can say my opinion's not worth as much as somebody who does own a Sony laptop and doesn't like it and is leaving a comment about it. So
Very cool.
thanks.
And this is out now?
So this is out now. The product works. I'll show you, pop into the CMS for a minute here,
Okay.
and just show you how some of that works. But like, how do you edit the Apple iPhone in a CMS? And so basically, you go into CMS, you drill down. There's a little pageless paging thing here, and obviously there were what, 14,000 products in here, and so now you got iPhone. If I do 3G, keep filtering it. There we go. So there's the Apple iPhone 3G. So how do you actually edit? So Randall Bennett actually added that product back on November 7th.
Yeah.
So this is like a blog platform, but it's a platform for editing anything. So we have different types of pages in here. So not just like an about page or a directions or a history page, but we actually have like a camera page, a cell phone page, and they have different types of properties. So you can go in here and say, I'm adding a phone, and who the manufacturer is, and all these different properties, and add classes to it. So I can say like, what other classes does this have? And hopefully EVDO will be a visible tool for us here. But it's a Google Suggest style box, and I say it's it's a music phone. So I start typing MUS, and it limits it to music phone. I click that, I tell it I'm done, and now I've just tagged it with a
that's
page,
really
not
cool.
tagged it with a string. So
That's really cool.
and
So,
yeah.
so you have a lot of that kind of tagging behavior based on Google Suggest in there?
It's the tool works like that,
Oh, it works
and you can so it's not Google Suggest itself. It's actually looking through your pool of stuff. Oh, actually, here's a really cool thing. If you want to add a carrier to this, right? And let's say that there's a carrier called Rackspace, right?
Yeah.
And they are doing mobile phones, and you start typing Rackspace, and it says, let me scroll this down a tiny bit so you can see. But it says like, I didn't find a carrier called Rackspace.
Yeah.
I can add them on the fly by saying add carrier. So it actually just created a company called Rackspace, a carrier called Rackspace, and it attached it to this. So for instance, if you're working in news,
Yeah.
and the Palm Pre is announced, and nobody's ever heard of it before, and you type in, I want to tag this with a cell phone called Palm Pre, then it says, I haven't seen Palm Pre, would you like to add that? It knows you were looking for a company, and so when it adds it, it actually added it as a company, not as a person, not as a, some glossary item, but as a company. So on your website, obsessible.com/company/ Palm, or whatever that thing is, or the Rackspace right then. Actually, there's now a page, obsessible.com/company/Rackspace, and it has one phone. If I saved this, it would have one phone attached to it. When you go to that company page, it would say it has one product called the Apple iPhone 3G, made by, Rackspace is a carrier of it. So there's a sort of a relationship of tags and pages here that's
So this is
part of a model.
this is probably really SEO compliant and probably get you into Google all over the place, right?
So our investors like that. And
I like that too, as a content producer.
No, in general, it's a big deal. No, but I mean, our investors actually, before we told them, we told them what we were doing, right? And then one of them came to us and said, I was searching for the BlackBerry Pearl or something like that the other day, and I typed it in, and Obsessible was like the number 2 Google result, and like we didn't even know. And he's like, I can't believe it was in there. He was very, very excited. And it's like, well, that's what we're built for: is great landing pages that are maintained and easy to maintain because we're constantly pulling in content to them and new data to them. Very easy to build and very clean URLs. Obsessible.com/cellphone/ BlackBerry Pearl is like the URL for that product, and you can take off the BlackBerry Pearl part, and you'll see the list of cell phones, and it's very hackable URL structure and very friendly to search engines. Okay.
So if I'm a magazine, how do I do business with you? How do I switch over to this? And do you host it? Do I host it? All that.
So the first question we got, like the first time TechCrunch mentioned us, was, where do I download this? You don't download it, that's maybe in the future. But it's a hosted thing by us, but we'd be silly if we thought that, every magazine company or every newspaper, like a New York newspaper, was going to just let us host wherever we want to host when they have a data center and a team for doing that kind of thing. So we're absolutely talking to people about installing it where they are, or us hosting it for them. Just kind of depends on their skill sets. Same thing, some people you talk to have a design team and a development team. Some don't at all, and they kind of want to outsource that and have you do that sort of thing. So it's definitely for high-end publishers right now. And the hosting is either way. Very cool.
And where do I learn more about it?
Crowdfusion.com has crowdfusion.com.
Crowdfusion.
CROWDFUSION.com has a whole lot of information about what it is, some of the data model, how we store things, the team, some stuff about the showcase sites too. How this does things that a blogging app or a wiki package doesn't do. So.
Interesting. And tell me about the infrastructure here. Are you doing anything with this company in terms of how you built the company or built the product that you couldn't have done 5 years ago or 10 years ago?
Good question. So I addressed some of this. I talked to Jason on his little show a couple weeks ago. Raising money, like that was something I did with this company that we hadn't done in the past. So that was good. But infrastructure, It's actually similar to a lot of other things we've done. Weblogs Inc. was a big virtual company. We have another big virtual company here. We have a guy in New Zealand. We have a guy in Maryland. I don't think we have that many people in the same state, or definitely no two people in the same city. So it's maybe similar to the older companies, more so than different.
Very cool. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you.